I was going through my playlist today, I guess you could say, of videos that I watched, and I stumbled upon this video of Sahid Bolson speaks, and Sahid Bolson, and he was talking about the African American experience, and ding, it rung a big bell with me because I don't identify with that term. I think the other person that spoke it well was Smokey Robinson when he said, "I'm black." And Sahib Bolson, he went into it a whole lot more. And as a person that has had the privilege to visit the continent of Africa multiple times, I've been to quite a few countries on the continent of Africa. And I truly, from my heart, I speak of them as my cousins, distant cousins. The brown skin came from somewhere. And again, the issue comes up is most people that are black Americans, we identify with this country. Most of us were born here. My friends that I have that are from Africa, they identify themselves with their country of origin, whether it's Nigeria, whether it's Kenya. I have one of my most dearest friends who's African American. He happens to be white, born in South Africa. And I was first introduced to that term years ago when I was in Kenya. And there was a nice white lady who, jokingly approached me and she said, "My kids are truly African American and they're white." And I had to think about it. I'm like, she's right. Now, as African Americans, we know nothing of our past, our cultures that was stripped from us, our native language. We don't know what tribe we came from. We don't know where the mixture started as a result of the cruelties and the unspeakable things that happened during slavery. And we're told to appease us, identify as African Americans. It doesn't wash. That doesn't appease me. It doesn't make me feel better about who I am. Who I am is an American. Now, if you want to go back further in my personal line, yeah, there's some people from other countries. That's why I look the way I do, and that's why most of us look the way we do.
African Americans are a completely unique phenomenon as a people. Who they are culturally, what their history is, what their experience is, isn't duplicated anywhere on earth. You don't know where you came from. You don't know what country you came from. You don't know what culture you came from. You don't know what language you came from. You don't know what your religion was before. You, like I've said before, you're more American than anyone because you don't have any other identity. Actually, your entire identity is American based. That's not the case of anyone else. I'm Irish American, I'm German American, I'm Italian American, I'm Jewish American, I'm this or that, the other. You can say African American, but you don't know anything about Africa. You don't even know which part of Africa. Africans don't call themselves that because I know my tribe. I have my language. I have my region, my country, my whatever. Like me saying European American. I'm not European. I'm specifically Irish and German. But you can't say that. You are American. You're the original Americans. You know, everyone else is immigrants. You can't even be called immigrants. You know, you're originally American, and your culture is as close to being the indigenous culture of America as there can be without you being the indigenous people. You know, you're the indigenous people of the entity called America, called the United States of America. Everything else came from elsewhere. Your culture is the only one that came from right there because you were cut off from everything else. You know, there's nobody else like that. There's nobody else like that in the world. There's no other culture like that in the world.
Now, that's why, even so more as a culture, we have to take more pride in how we represent ourselves and how we are seen. Now, we've created a culture from within, a culture that was forced upon us. The way we dress, the way we speak, our rhythms, the music. As you guys can see, I'm a musician, but the music and the rhythms came from the heartbeat of slavery. It came from the slaves out in the fields trying to pass the time, creating a rhythm to make their work pass, to make life a little bit more palatable. After they got finished working in the fields, they went home and they moaned songs to relieve themselves of the toils and the bitter taste of slavery in their mouths and on their bodies and on their backs and in their groins. And from that came the blues. And then from the blues came the gospel. And then guess what? You got country music. Now you got people claiming that, oh yeah, country music was a white institution that was born in the South. No, it wasn't. These are all things that was born out of the black Americans creating a culture and a face, an identity for themselves. Now, other people, you have Irish Americans. You even have Mexican Americans. They can identify with a culture. Guatemalan, Panamanian, Cuban. Most Cubans, no. I don't think I've ever met a Cuban that wanted to be identified as black. They would rather be Cuban of African descent. Now, you can say we are Afro-Americans because we have African descent, African blood in it that makes our skin brown. But born in Africa? No. I don't identify with a country in Africa. I don't even know what country I would identify with. No, and I have not done Ancestry.com or 23andMe. Now, kind of part of this video is a result of a comment that I received about how people are using AI to represent us in a negative light. Now, what are we representing ourselves? How are we presenting ourselves to the public? So they're using that, they're putting that information into AI, and AI is popping out just cruel, dumb, belittling, lowering, degrading images of us as a people. Now we have to think about how are we going to look at that. Remember, you generally identify with the place of origin that you were born in. I was born an American, so I'm, first of all, supposedly American, although those rights are being questioned. Born American, happen to have some African blood in me, as well as other blood. But as you know, if you're brown, if you got any percentage of black in you, then you are pretty much considered black unless you can pass. Remember, how do you represent yourself? Because we are unique people. We are set apart people. We have to create our own way. We've plowed our own culture. We've plowed our own way of thinking. We've plowed our own styles. We've plowed our own music. Yeah, and all those things do fall under the culture aspect of it. But also, we have to plow our own future in a position of pride and respect.